Lights off, volume up. It's time for another rendezvous with fear on Quick Scare. From haunted houses to mysterious encounters, buckle up for a quick scare that'll leave you questioning reality. Gather round, dear listeners, for I've got another tale to send shivers down your spine. A haunting chapter in the history of Greek mythology that I stumbled upon in the forgotten pages of an old, weathered journal. This is the tale of the Siren's Lullaby, a story of love, betrayal, and a melody that still echoes in the darkest corners of the sea. It all began in a quiet coastal village where a young fisherman named Theo lived. He was known for his unwavering courage and unparalleled skill in navigating the treacherous waters that surrounded their humble abode. One fateful day, a mysterious ship sailed into the harbor, bearing gifts of silver and gold. Its captain, a charismatic figure with a voice as alluring as the sea itself, was the legendary Siren Queen, Seraphina. Theo, drawn by the enchanting aura of the Siren Queen, found himself entangled in a web of forbidden love. Despite warnings from the village elders and the haunting tales of sailors who had fallen prey to the siren's call, Theo could not resist the allure of Seraphina's song. Each night, he would sneak away to the cliffs, where the Siren Queen's haunting melody echoed across the moonlit waves. As their clandestine romance blossomed, Theo's once thriving village began to wither. The once bountiful catches dwindled, and an eerie silence settled over the harbor. Whispers of a curse spread through the village like wildfire, and the villagers turned accusatory eyes toward Theo and his forbidden love. It wasn't long before the elders, desperate to break the curse, devised a plan to rid their village of the Siren Queen's influence. A powerful sorceress was summoned, armed with ancient incantations and a resolve as unyielding as the waves crashing against the shore. The sorceress warned Theo of the impending danger, pleading with him to sever ties with the Siren Queen before it was too late. But love, as they say, is a powerful force, blinding reason and drowning out the warnings of the wise. Ignoring the pleas of the villagers and the sorceress, Theo continued to rendezvous with Seraphina, unable to resist the siren's call. As the village plunged deeper into despair, the sorceress, fueled by desperation, cast a powerful spell to banish the Siren Queen from their waters. The sea erupted in a tempest, waves crashing against the cliffs and a howling wind tearing through the village. It was a storm of mythical proportions, and Theo, caught in the crossfire, clung to the rocks as the world around him descended into chaos. In the heart of the maelstrom, Seraphina's haunting melody reached a crescendo, weaving through the storm like a lament for a love lost. The sea itself seemed to weep, and the villagers, realizing the cost of their desperation, watched in horror as their once beautiful village crumbled into the abyss. The storm subsided as quickly as it had come, leaving behind a desolate landscape and a shattered village. Theo, battered and broken, found himself alone on the cliffs. The Siren Queen, her voice now a melancholic echo in the wind, was gone. The village, once thriving, lay in ruins, a testament to the consequences of meddling with the enchantments of the sea. As Theo gazed upon the devastation, the sorceress approached him with a heavy heart. She revealed the true nature of the curse. The village had paid the price for Theo's forbidden love. The Siren Queen's song, once a lullaby of passion, had become a requiem for the fallen. Haunted by guilt, Theo wandered the desolate landscape, his heart heavy with the weight of the consequences. The ruins of the village stood as a somber reminder of the power of love, betrayal, and the otherworldly forces that lurk beneath the surface of the sea. And so, dear listeners, be wary of the haunting melodies that beckon from the depths. For in the embrace of forbidden love lies a perilous journey that may lead not only to the destruction of the heart, but also to the unraveling of the very fabric of the world we know. I've got a tale to share, one that still sends shivers down my spine every time I think about it. You see, it all started when I stumbled upon an ancient artifact, a mysterious scroll that spoke of a forgotten chapter in Greek mythology. It was a tale of horror, a story that sent me on a journey I'll never forget. Picture this. I was wandering through the ruins of an old Greek temple, somewhere off the beaten path. The air was thick with an otherworldly silence, broken only by the distant echoes of my own footsteps. As I explored, I noticed a peculiar chamber hidden beneath layers of dust and debris. In the center of the room lay an ancient scroll, seemingly untouched by time. Curiosity got the best of me, and I unrolled the scroll, revealing a story that would haunt my dreams. It spoke of a forgotten labyrinth, a maze so intricate that even the gods themselves feared its depths. Legend had it that the labyrinth was not just a structure, but a living entity, a malevolent force that fed on the fear of those who dared to enter. As I delved deeper into the narrative, I learned of a once-forgotten hero named Nikos. He was no demigod, just an ordinary man with extraordinary courage. Nikos, drawn by the promise of untold riches rumored to lie at the heart of the labyrinth, embarked on a perilous journey. His descent into the maze was swift, the walls seemingly shifting and rearranging themselves to confuse and confound him. The air grew colder with each step, and the only sound was the eerie echo of his own breath. It didn't take long for Nikos to realize that he was not alone. Whispers, soft and haunting, echoed through the labyrinth. The voices spoke of forgotten sins, of ancient regrets that clung to the walls like shadows. Nikos pressed on, determined to reach the labyrinth's core and claim his prize. But the deeper he ventured, the more the whispers intensified, as if the very essence of the maze sought to consume his soul. Days turned into nights, and Nikos lost all sense of time. The walls seemed to close in on him, their stone surfaces pulsating with an unnatural energy. He could feel the malevolence of the labyrinth seeping into his bones, twisting his thoughts into a maddening dance. Then, just as Nikos reached what he believed to be the heart of the maze, the whispers took a sinister turn. They spoke not of treasure, but of a dark secret that bound Nikos to the labyrinth. As it turned out, he was not the first to tread these cursed halls. Centuries ago, a sorcerer had created the labyrinth as a prison for a monstrous entity, a creature born of chaos and darkness. The sorcerer, fearing the power of his creation, had devised a ritual to bind his own soul to the labyrinth, ensuring that it would remain sealed for all eternity. Nikos, unknowingly following in the footsteps of countless others, had become a pawn in a cosmic game of torment and despair. As the realization dawned on him, the walls of the labyrinth seemed to close in, squeezing the air from his lungs. The whispers grew into agonizing screams, and Nikos, driven to the brink of madness, fell to his knees. It was then that the true horror of the labyrinth revealed itself. The walls, once solid stone, began to contort and shift, revealing grotesque faces carved into the very fabric of the maze. These faces, frozen in eternal torment, were the remnants of those who had entered the labyrinth before Nikos. The malevolent force that bound them together sought release, and Nikos had unwittingly become the key. In a blinding flash of light, the labyrinth claimed its final victim. Nikos's body dissolved into a spectral mist, merging with the tortured souls that came before him. The once silent labyrinth roared with triumph as the souls of its victims were set free, leaving behind nothing but an empty, echoing chamber. As I finished reading the scroll, a cold chill swept through the ancient temple. It was as if the very air had absorbed the essence of the story, carrying with it the weight of centuries-old horror. I stumbled out of the ruins, the image of the labyrinth's faces etched into my mind. So, my friends, Heed this cautionary tale. Beware the lure of forgotten mazes and the promises they hold. For in the shadows of ancient myths, the true horrors await, ready to consume the brave and the curious alike. And who knows, maybe the next unsuspecting soul to stumble upon this tale will find themselves drawn into the depths of a labyrinth, their fate intertwined with the whispers of the past. And there you have it, another chapter closed in the book of Quick Scare. If you enjoyed the tales that sent shivers down your spine, be sure to like, comment on your favorite moment, and subscribe for a front row seat to more horrifying narratives. Stay spooked.